Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is gonna be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and we are hearing plenty about how the housing market is starting to crash, how inventory is going up, how prices are going down, how investors are freaking out. Interest rates are only getting higher. But what does that mean for any potential home buyer that's on the sidelines, and how does that actually help us? Now, remember, as always, none of this matters unless you are doing everything you can right now to stay ahead of affordability and inflation. How do you do that? Eliminate consumer debt, work harder, and make as much money as possible while at the same time saving as much cash as you can. But remember, I'm not your financial advisor, even though my bio is as a realtor, loan officer, and instructor in all things real estate, plus victim of foreclosure, bankruptcy, repo. So I know a whole bunch about what not to do, and that's what makes me so good. But regardless, this is my personal YouTube channel. So please like this video, you guys. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and don't leave me hanging, guys. Shoot me a comment below, but we're going to get started on this video right now so that you can learn how to become a winner on the other side of this. Let's start. Now, this article is by Motley Fool. Okay, I know how it sounds, but this is 5 ways the cooling housing market is helping buyers. So we're going to start with number 1, but I want to make clear the reason I'm reading this article is I do think it has some pretty good points, and I'm going to elaborate on a few of those points as we move forward. But number 1, buyers can't go back and change the price of a home, but they can refinance. Home prices hit an all-time record high in June. They're down 6% since then. A home selling for $400,000 last spring is likely to sell for around $376,000 today. That said, home prices are still 5.9% higher than they were this time last year, but the 6% drop since June is a good sign for buyers because, again, we don't want to get trapped upside down in our house. We can't change the principal unless we make extra payments and throw away our money per se, but we can refinance if we qualify. So that's a good point. All right, so number 2, a cooling market means less competition. According to real estate giant Redfin, home sales in the U.S. dropped by 19% year over year in July. That represents the lowest level since the pandemic shut down large swaths of the economy. The reason for the drop in sales is clear: fewer potential buyers. Therefore, it's no coincidence that by August, the average U.S. home sold below the asking price. Investors are also exiting the market as investor home purchases plateaued in the second quarter of 2022. Investors are in the business to make money, and at one point, they could borrow enough to purchase a home at rock bottom interest rates. Once rates began to rise, they lost their motivation because they also lost their money, but whatever, or they're about to. After all, higher monthly mortgage payment means less profit. As investors leave the market, individuals who hope to become homeowners face even less competition. But again, you guys remember, you're only going to face a lot less competition if you're staying ahead of the unaffordability. Good spending habits, getting out of debt, saving as much money as possible, working your overtime, becoming an expert in your local housing market. Y'all see what I mean? So don't get caught up in the wind if you can help it. Now, obviously, life happens, and my heart goes out to people that are struggling. But nevertheless, guys, let's get on to number 3 right now. Buyers have more time to shop around. Thank goodness. No more fear of missing out. Y'all remember the fear of missing out and how dangerous and damaging that was? Home buyers can't help but benefit from a relative lack of competition. That frenzied sense of needing to pay more for a home, more than what it's worth, has been muffled. And home buyers now have a chance to carefully consider the financial ramifications of an offer. Thank goodness. They no longer have to make snap decisions because there are 15 other parties in the wings waiting to snap up the house. In June, the typical home was on the market for 15 days. By August, that was up all the way to 26 days. While 9 days more may not seem like much, it's an eternity to a home seller hoping to cash in. It also makes those sellers more likely to accept an offer below the asking price. And really what we look at, guys, as agents to figure out what we can kind of get away with negotiation is what's called DOM, or days on market. And generally, the longer a home sits on the market, the more power that we have to negotiate with that seller. Let's hop into number 4 right now. Those willing to wait may land a great deal. And I've been saying that, guys, I am looking for the deal of my lifetime, or else why am I putting myself through all of this, right? I'm not looking for a good deal. I'm looking for the deal of my lifetime. But let's read this. I'm convinced that my husband and I were able to buy our ugly house below its appraised value because we deliberately looked for homes that had been on the market for several weeks or more. The fact that we found one in June should have been a hairdinger of things to come. By July, the number of U.S. homes listed for 30 days or more increased by 12% year over year, essentially signaling things aren't selling. There may be absolutely nothing wrong with a house that lingers on the market. In fact, ours aced its home inspection. We were able to move in knowing there wasn't a single thing that needed to be repaired. And fortunately, we were able to use some of the proceeds from the house we sold to give the new house a cosmetic makeover. If you're not married to the idea of buying a home the first weekend you go house hunting, there are deals to be found. And now, thanks to the cooling market, there's even less competition for those homes. So again, you guys, we have more time. There's not as much competition. We can find a deal of our dreams. But again, only if you can keep up with the inflation and unaffordability. Let's look at the last point right now. And this is crazy that this was even out of play. But number 5 is contingencies are back in play. One of the best things about a cooling housing market is that it puts buyers back in the driver's seat. No longer do you have to skip important contingencies to have your offer accepted, nor should you have in the past, in my opinion. You owe it to yourself and your bank account to ask for a home inspection. Your lender will demand a home appraisal, but it should be just as important to you. A home appraisal lets you know if you're overpaying for a property or you're getting a fair deal or if you're getting a great deal. So what if you didn't get in early enough to land a 2.9% APR? Those who did may regret feeling rushed to buy or overpaying. What you have in front of you is a historically decent interest rate, and at around 7%, it's lower than 7.76%, the average rate between April 1971 and today. The trick is to be patient enough to find a home fair enough to pair with that interest rate. In conclusion, we need to continue to try to logically understand the trends and trajectory of the housing market in order to understand what a great deal looks like. The market is very rapidly turning into a buyer's market, throwing all of that away by purchasing a home too soon or purchasing a home purely on emotions. In other words, you need to figure out what a great deal looks like. Now, other than that, you guys, I really hope you guys got some value, some perspective, and some insights from today's video. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you know I wish you luck, and I hope you win.